Good afternoon, everyone. So good to see you all. It's a delight. This is one of the best times of the year when we get together as a full team for advancement. Wonderful to see everyone here. I wanted to give special gratitude to the tech group, who I know has been anxious because things haven't been coming together as easily, but it's great up here, Sam, so don't worry. It's all good. For those of you who don't know me, I am Mary Gresh. I'm the Senior Vice President for Advancement here for you awesome people. And I'm really excited to be here for 2025 Shop Talk. Lovely to see you all. I hope you enjoyed meeting one another. You played the bingo game. I think I won 5 times because I know so many of you in the room. I hope you all did too. I especially love the bow down to Washington question, and I'm going to pick on someone to do it at the end of Shop Talk. Just kidding. Yes. So twice a year, for those of you who are new, we take this moment to come together as an advancement team around all of our units and campuses, or UW Medicine. We come together as a team to celebrate and get aligned and unified and strategic about the work we do together. That work, of course, is building the reputation, developing relationships, and growing resources for our wonderful University of Washington. Today, we're focusing on the next chapter of our university with our incoming president, oh my goodness, he's here, 4 months in. What am I saying? Woo! Robert Jones. And for those of you who have met him, you know he is an absolute delight. He is a highly strategic, enthusiastic, motivated leader who is thrilled to be here and is on a mission on behalf of our great public university. So I hope you all understand the gift we've been given from Illinois. Who would have thought? It is incredible to have this man leading our university now, and he's very motivated and certainly inspiring me every day in our work together. We have 3 topics for you today. The university's strategic planning process. I'm going to just outline that briefly for a minute. We have the campaign. Of course, we're in the year of campaign readiness, and Lisa Thomas and Emelina Berkshire are going to inspire you with tales of what the campaign's about this year and your role in it, every single one of us. And then we're going to do what is our most joyful moment of the year, where we give out our Manager Excellence Awards, and of course, the cherished Marilyn Bat Dunn Award for Outstanding Excellence in Advancement. This is the highest award we give to our advancement community, and it is a pure joy. It's really joyful in this position because I know who it is, and it's going to be really fun. So stay tuned. So, but first let's start with our land acknowledgement. In September, the UW installed a new story pole outside Denny Hall. I hope that, yeah, there's a picture, great. The title of which translates to From the Mountain to the Coast Salish Sea. From the top down, images on the pole are of Mount Rainier, women's weavings, the Thunderbird holding 2 orcas, 4 salmon that represent the 4 rivers of the Coast Salish peoples and the Coast Salish Sea. The celebration of this story pole was made possible in part by the wonderful community of supporters to the Friends of Anthropology Fund in the College of Arts and Sciences in the Department of Anthropology. It's so beautiful and powerful. I encourage you to take a walk. It's out front of Denny Hall, and take a look at it and have a look. These histories are an essential part of our UW story, and it brings to life what I want to ensure we do today, which is our land acknowledgement. The University of Washington acknowledges the Coast Salish peoples of this land, the land which touches the shared waters of all tribes and nations within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. And through this acknowledgement, of course, we recognize and respect the sovereignty of these nations and the people who are thriving here today. Thank you all. Now, I also want to start with a new staff welcome. So if you are new to University Advancement, our mighty team, please stand, and we want to give you a thunderous welcome. We are so glad you've joined our team. I want to also acknowledge someone who has departed from University Advancement, which of course, you all know is Tamara Michelle Josseran, who departed her position as Vice President for Development to take the Senior Vice President, I believe, for Advancement position at the University of North Carolina A&T. This is the largest HBCU in the country. They're becoming R1 status. And I really want to, with great affection and respect, take a moment to acknowledge Tamara, who did so much through her position in the last 3.5 years. I'll also share that we've begun the necessary groundwork to launch a national search for the new Vice President for Development. Reflecting the importance of this leadership role, the process will be conducted with both urgency and care. And we'll have many opportunities for your input, particularly those of you from units and other parts of development who have reported to Tamara directly. I've asked Rebecca Kelly, who isn't here, and I forgot to tell her I was announcing this today, but I'm going to announce it anyway. She knows. To chair the search on behalf of all of us. More on the search committee and the search process will be forthcoming, but I want you to know we're in good hands, and we'll take this process forward, and we expect to have a new hire in the next 6 to 9 months, would be my estimation there. I really want to especially thank Lisa Thomas, Jan Labiak, and Stephanie Doyle, who are taking on additional leadership responsibilities as we go through this transition time. I opted not to have an interim because we have such extraordinary leaders in advancement, such as these three women, and I think they will do an exceptional job as we go through this interim period. So please, let me give them a round of applause as well. So our first topic today is strategic planning. President Jones and Provost Serio are leading the university's first strategic planning effort in over 15 years. And it comes at a pivotal moment as we navigate significant challenges in higher education while seizing new opportunities for discovery, innovation, student success, healthcare for all. You know the landscape of things that we do at the University of Washington, and it's a highly significant time in our landscape. For many of you, you've asked this question: how do we focus on today's challenges or tomorrow's opportunities? And I want to be clear that this is not an either-or choice. The answer has to be and must be both. Our resilience over 164 years as an institution has been built on bold choices and transformation. And as President Jones has said multiple times, if you've heard him speak, we are built for this moment. If you watched his annual address or came to his annual address, you know he's not a person who's sitting around in his office saying, woe is us, the federal landscape is difficult. He's saying, how do we work together? How do we transform? How do we set bold goals? How do we think about what the university wants to be 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now, rather than the moment, rather than sort of living in the moment we're in. It's very inspiring to be around him in conversations, both with his leadership and with many in our donor community who have had the privilege to be with him in those conversations. So he's called us to do 3 things and to focus on 3 things, and I want to be really clear about his seriousness about this and how they are broad and they can lift into a broad interpretation. Access and affordability is extraordinarily important to us. I have 2 minutes? Whoa, 2 or 3? Wow, okay, speed it up, Mary. Here I go. That's good, though. Access and affordability is one. You all know that this is deeply, deeply important to us as a transformative public university in this state, in this world. It's very important to him, and he's brought language around debt-free education. He's very proud of the fact that the University of Washington has about 70% of our students graduating with no known debt. He wants to see that increase, but he also thinks broadly about access and believes deeply that we need to work with the K-12 system. He's got data on graduation rates from high school, from how we stack up in our college growing rates, that he finds actually quite appalling for a state that is as significant, as tech-savvy, or as technologically rich, I guess I'd say, and the bounty that has brought to the state through that richness. So he's puzzled by why this hasn't been a problem that's reached the urgency it needs to, and he wants the University of Washington to be a strong partner in solving that. So this is deep in his bones. This is what he cares deeply about, and I think you're going to see a lot of that as we work through strategic planning and into the campaign, of course. He's also very, very focused on accelerating research through what he calls radical partnerships, which is not just thinking about multidisciplinary work as sort of collaboration and strong focus together in sort of organic ways. He sees it as across sectors. He sees it built through operational excellence, where you don't just say we're all going to collaborate and find interdisciplinary partners and make stuff happen. The sort of thousand flowers bloom, which has been a real hallmark of the university, actually. Most of our brand work will tell us, many people say this is the most collaborative place they've ever been for their research and scholarship. But what President Jones sees, is, got to be a little formal at the beginning. What he sees is that if we build institutional structures and excellence in the way we do our business, we can grow multidisciplinary work and those kind of radical partnerships that can make a significant difference in much more profound ways. And what I'm gathering is he's very good at it, and again, seeing him work, he is also very serious about it. So I'm very excited about what this can mean for our campaign, and particularly as we think about initiatives and other things. And then he also has a deep, deep belief, he comes out of the land-grant tradition, of there should be no boundaries between the university and the communities we serve. We believe this too. I know this isn't new to us, but he's taking it to the level of what you see in the land-grant systems, which are essentially, there's work going on at the universities in every corner of the state, every county. That's a commitment that the land grants have made through the Morrill Act for years. And he sees this in the flagship universities, that he sees that extension happening. Certainly our WWAMI program, the RIDE program, what we do in healthcare, all the ways in which we work in community, through public health, through the College of Built Environments. There's so many examples of this, but we haven't put it into a space of expectations and understanding statewide and beyond in ways that truly come from a service mindset, and he is clearly all about that. So it's exciting to think about where we can go with our new president. It's also very exciting to think about how we do that in a time of challenges, and in some would say austerity, given state and federal funding. But he and Provost Serio have made very clear, and I'm adding Tricia here because she's been a mastermind of this in the strategic planning process. We need to do this with a focus on both what we can do and what we need to not do to get there. And that means being more efficient, more effective, understanding the things we can be superb, excellent, distinctive at, and not doing those that may be where we aren't. And I think that's going to be a really interesting part of that, an interesting aspect of what comes out of strategic planning as this process continues. So let me just end by saying, is that an Amber Alert? It wasn't you. Okay, good. Advancing our mission as a public research university, setting bold goals for strategies and success, guiding resource allocations with strategic initiatives and campaign priorities, and most important, or not the most important, but having a strategic plan by March 2026. I want you to remember that date. That's an important time when we'll begin socializing and how it will interplay with the campaign. And I also want you to remember there are listening sessions going on all across our campuses, and you have the opportunity to sign up for them. Some of our staff have been telling me how instructive those are and how important. Your input matters here on what the university can do strategically and how it will build toward the campaign. So I really, really encourage you to participate. Our foundation board members participated recently. That was a great input session. And we're planning to convene regional leaders, particularly business leaders. President Jones is having some interesting conversations with some of our leading corporate leaders about how they can have an imprint on the strategic plan. Very interesting conversation just yesterday in that regard. So really, really want to encourage you, if you have the opportunity, please participate. Okay, and finally, this all begins with how we all know how strategic change happens, right? It's coalition building. You start with a vision, you build coalitions, you bring a sense of urgency, you work toward, you get the right people around you so you can execute, and you build on your wins and you keep going. We have huge wins just by their existence, and Lisa Thomas and Emelina Berkshire, let's be honest, and Kelsey Shannon. But we also have an opportunity here to go so much further in this campaign than we've ever gone before, with a president who is ready to lean in with us in ways that are big and bold, as he calls them, that rely on the big bets. So I'm thrilled to introduce Lisa and Emelina and of course Kelsey. And I don't actually know Kelsey's role in this. I see her paper, so that's why I'm hesitating. You guys all have it. So I'm excited about this. This is going to be the dynamic, what is it, the threesome here. And I think you're going to have a wonderful time seeing how they're structuring this out for you. So with that, the team.
All right, thank you, Mary. I am excited to be here today to talk with you about campaign, favorite topic. My name is Lisa Thomas, and I lead the Advancement Strategy and Campaigns team. And I have with me my colleagues, Emelina Berkshire-Gang and Kelsey Shannon. Yay, yeah, thinking, yay, yeah, there you go. And we are gonna bring you a campaign update and some of the why behind campaign. So first, I want to maybe click. Yeah, I'm going to click. I want to just center us in time. I think many of you have seen this timeline chart before. You can see where the pink line is today. So since we were last together in May and looked at this, a lot has happened. President Jones has started his work here at the university. He's really hit the ground running, bringing institutional strategic planning, which is moving at a really fast clip. We have wrapped up the work of the campaign organizing task force. When we talked in the spring, the deans and chancellors and vice presidents and vice provosts were all sharing early versions of their campaign vision and priorities with a group of philanthropic leaders to get some candid feedback. That work has wrapped up. The task force has given its feedback not only to our academic leaders, but also a set of recommendations to President Jones. We've done a big lift, many of you in the units, on campaign ratings, trying to figure out how much money we might be able to raise in this campaign and for what. We're also in big conversations about impact goals and beyond the dollars, how might we measure and talk about our success in this campaign? So there have been big conversations there that remain ongoing. So as we look ahead, if that's where we've been, in the coming months, we expect a presidential decision that we're in a campaign. That's the president gets to decide that, and everything we've heard from this president is that he is very pro-campaign and would like one now. We expect that decision soon. Also, more information about the campaign timing and duration, when it started. Remember, we talked in the past that we decide today that it started at some point in the past and then we go forward. So that will become clear. We're also going to have continued thinking about campaign goals and beginning work on the campaign brand. So there's a lot coming up as we go forward. If all of this is new to you and you're thinking, what is she talking about? Don't worry, we will send you a link after the meeting today to the intranet, where there is all kinds of information about the campaign background and a deeper dive. So lots of opportunity to catch up. So for today, before we get into the how and the what we're doing this year, I wanted to take a big step back and start with why. Those of you of a certain vintage will remember that very famous Simon Sinek TED Talk about starting with why. Everybody else is going to go Google it after this meeting. But it's a good reminder to think about not the what we do or the how we do it, but the why we do it. So many of you have seen this slide before about why we have campaigns. And it's true. It's not everything on it is factual and true, but really, the reasons that we have campaigns are because of the good that they help the UW do in the world. They're because they help people and the planet and our communities. So when we think about the why we have campaigns, this is our why. And we're restoring powers to community that are traumatized by weather events. We're protecting animal life. And we're preventing murder hornet infestations. It's very important work. The UW is a huge, complex place, and most of us have firsthand visibility on a fraction of its impact, if that. despite the fact that that impact is the very reason that most of us work here in university advancement and do the work that we do. So today, we wanted you to hear from some special folks whose work inspires us, and we hope that they'll bring to life for all of you the reasons that we have campaigns, the real why behind campaigns. So to start, you'll recall that advanced technologies, AI, we keep changing the name, but you know what I mean, cool technology is one of our collective campaign priorities across the university. And I want to remind us that at the UW, we're not pursuing advanced technologies just because we can, but we can, or because they're cool, which they are, but we're pursuing them because we're using them to solve real-world problems. So there are a lot of examples of how the UW is doing this, and I want to bring you one of my very favorites.
Hi Advancement, my name is Vikram and I'm an assistant professor in the Allen School of Computer Science and Engineering. So a couple of years ago, I got involved in tracking the murder hornets that you might have heard about. And a few years ago, back in 2020, when we all thought the world was ending, we also found out that there were these giant hornets that were here in Washington State. And you might be wondering where they get the name murder hornet from. And yes, their sting can really hurt, right? But the real danger from them is their danger to local bee populations. A single one of these or a handful of them can decimate a whole hive of bees. And we needed a way to track these things down. What they were doing before was just setting up a bunch of traps, hoping they'd catch one. But with so few nests, that's pretty hard to do. So instead what we did is basically design this tiny air tag, just like the type of thing that you would attach to your keys. It looks like this here. It's got a little Bluetooth chip in it and broadcasts a radio signal that you could pick up on your phone. They've gone on to use the same method of attaching little trackers to the hornets, and they've been able to track down a number of nests. And over the past couple of years, they've actually declared them eradicated from the state. So I think this is a huge success story for how we can take, this weird idea from academia, right, of like attaching electronics onto insects and solve a real world problem.
This is so cool. So just to underscore that, in case you missed it, the reason we don't have a murder hornet infestation in Washington State is because our scientists built little tiny air tags and put them on little tiny bee backpacks to track the bad bees back to their nest to eradicate them. Very cool. And what's almost cooler about this example is the origin behind it. Because we were talking to Vikram, we're like, how did you come up with the idea to make the little backpack for the bee? He's like, well, we were sitting around and we saw on the news about the murder hornets. So we reached out to the Washington State Department of Agriculture and said, I think we could help you with that. And that is the UW, right? It's not just making the little thing in the lab or even just thinking, I could put that on a bee. It's then being proactive and reaching out and collaborating on a solution. By the way, since I know you're all dying to know, we did ask how the heck you get these on a murder hornet. How does that work? The answer is you put the bees in the fridge until they cool down and start moving in slow motion. And then you put the backpack on them really fast and hope you get it done before they wake up. So they were very successful. They report no one got stung during this process. And their lab continues to work on all sorts of projects like this. They're putting backpacks on pigeons to track flight patterns so that new buildings can be built in ways that have fewer birds hitting windows. I know, right? Saving the animals. And beyond the backpacks, they're working on biodegradable and recyclable circuit boards so that the computers of the future won't harm the planet and can be deployed in really novel ways. They shared one example of an idea they have to deploy sensors and to put them into the wind, like the puff of a dandelion, to track weather patterns. And because they're biodegradable, you don't have to worry about where they go. So super cool stuff. And Vikram, of course, is not the only one at the UW using tech to solve real-world problems.
Hello Advancement, my name is Shima Abadi. I'm a professor at the School of STEM, University of Washington Bothell, and the School of Oceanography, University of Washington, Seattle. My research is underwater acoustics. I use fiber optic cables to listen to the ocean, to learn about the ocean processes. I deployed 2-kilometer fiber optic cable in the Salish Sea And this project was funded by Allen Family Philanthropies. And the goal is to use fiber optic sensing for recording marine mammal vocalization. Recently, we were able to record humpback whale vocalization on these cables. It shows that all the fiber optic cables globally can be used for marine conservation. More than 150 million kilometers of subsea cables are currently in use for telecommunication, which can be repurposed for monitoring the environment.
Very cool, right? So Shima was coming off a full day of air travel and is very humble, so she wasn't as ecstatic about her own work as we are. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit more insight into what she actually does. So right now, across the oceans of the world, we have hydrophones dispersed in areas, and they can only hear ocean vocalization and sounds exactly where they have been dropped in the water. But scientists recently have realized that the existing fiber optic cables that are all over the world can actually be used as vibration sensors, so they actually can hear sound. Scientists have found that not only that they can hear the sound, but they can pinpoint exactly where the sound came from. So the cables actually hear far beyond where they are laying on the seafloor, which is very, very cool. So basically this means that we can hear any ocean sound at the exact moment that it is made at the exact time it is made. So seismologists have already started using fiber optic cables to listen to earthquakes and tectonic plates moving, but Shima's team took it even further. They have started to put cables into the Salish Sea, as she spoke about, and have figured out they can hear whales and shrimp. They can hear down to like a shrimp clinking its claws. So this is super game-changing for marine life conservation. For example, if we know there's an orcapod off the coast of Anacortes, we can call up Washington State Ferries and say, please pause your route to the San Juans until the orcapod has passed. But now that we have all of these fiber optic cables that exist all over the world for internet connection, we can actually track marine life all over the world, not just in the Salish Sea. So we're using tech to save bumblebees. We're using tech to save orcas and humpback whales and shrimp maybe someday. But we're also using tech to make an impact on humans and how they thrive on the planet.
Hi, advancement colleagues. I'm Dan Schwartz. I'm Boeing Sutter Professor of Chemical Engineering and Director of the UW Clean Energy Institute. The Clean Energy Institute was founded in 2013 because really none of the problems in energy fall into a department, into a unit. It's a big, hairy problem. We are amazingly excited about the success we've had with the Washington Clean Energy Test Beds. They've had over 170 companies come in and use those, from the biggest tech companies in the nation and world, actually, to mostly small startups. And it gives them an environment where they can be working side by side, UW students, faculty, and researchers, to really move their technologies forward. People now can come into the test beds and they can test their new technologies on it, and they don't have to go and install it in a real physically working microgrid. So companies have gone from testing their software innovations directly to contracts with utilities. Communities are a critical part of this, and so we've been partnering with underserved communities. Our state has committed 35% of the funding from the Climate Commitment Act, which we all voted in, a tax on our carbon, and 35% of that is dedicated to underserved and overburdened communities. And our students go out and do design work with communities to help inform sort of their community conversations around how clean energy can lower their bills, can bring resiliency when there's wildfires and the power goes out or it's smoky and hot, and just decarbonize if their organization has a goal to reduce their carbon emissions. So it's a way that we're trying to engage from the grassroots all the way up to mega tech companies, and get all the parts of clean energy so that we can actually do our mission to accelerate the adoption of a scalable and equitable clean energy future.
Claps for Dan. Okay, and if you're anything like us, you're nodding along, listening to Dan and thinking, yes, test beds. I know what that means. So if you are like me and don't know what that means, we asked him to describe, like, if you were to describe this to a first grader, not like I am, but if you were to describe this to someone who didn't know what you meant, he said you can think of test beds like a lab or like a makerspace, a playground for scientists to come and access the state-of-the-art R&D tools to explore clean energy. So for companies, what it does is if they want to explore a clean energy solution, but to do so themselves, they have to build the thing and get the space and hire the people, and then they don't do it, right? So by having the test beds, it allows them to come to our facilities, partner with our experts, lowers that barrier to entry to pursuing clean energy. Unfortunately, everyone involved in the test beds is under an NDA, so Dan couldn't actually tell us any specific examples from the companies. But we did talk about some of the Clean Energy Institute projects overall that he mentioned on working with communities. One in particular I want to share with you all. There is a church in Beacon Hill that provides community cooling centers. So for those days where it's smoky, it's too hot, they have community cooling centers, right? They partnered with the Clean Energy Institute and were able to not only add resilience to the church's energy structure, but to reduce their energy costs by up to 85%. So this is the impact of the work that they're talking about. I know whatever they're doing in the test beds is very cool. Someday we'll find out about it. But if it's anything like that, it's pretty amazing. And Dan mentioned the center works with students. Educating students, which we all love, right, is again something that we don't just do because it's cool. We're not in the business of like, how many diplomas could we offer, right? It's because of the impact that that education has on the individual students, but also that those students then go on to be the change makers that we need in the world. So here's another example of one of those.
My name is Basha Belza, and I am the de Tournai Endowed Professor in the School of Nursing at University of Washington. I'm also Director of the de Tournai Center for Healthy Aging, and it's great to have this opportunity to talk with you today. The center bridges nursing, medicine, social work, public health, and informatics, all to develop and implement innovative aging interventions. As the world, and we are all part of this, ages, this aging population really leads to an increased demands for aging-centric healthcare solutions. A number of our students have pursued topics that there have really been gaps in the field. One student in particular is very interested in music-based interventions. And as one of our pre-doctoral scholars, she is now conducting her dissertation on looking at community-based partnerships, in particular, partnering a string with the Seattle Chamber Society and the Memory Hub here in Seattle. It's a phenomenal work introducing this chamber to people living with cognitive changes and their partners, and looking at the importance of our community partnerships and how music can help all of us.
So Sarah McKitty is the doctoral student that Baja was talking about. She, before she became a nurse, was a professional violinist, and she wanted to see if she could make a crossover between her two careers. One of her first research projects when she started her doctoral program was on music therapy and its effects on people living with dementia. This was such a successful research project that her research group recommended that music therapy be integrated into nursing practice from now on. That work evolved into what Baja spoke about, which is the string quartet. My favorite part about this is the string quartet, the four musicians, they lived in a dementia care facility when they were doing their artist in residency here in Seattle with the Seattle Chamber. They worked with the Memory Hub, which is a project run by the UW Memory and Brain Wellness Center. And they got to live with everybody and practice and have incredible dress rehearsals. Quick ending. But UW faculty and students don't just serve the public in the abstract. They also provide access and information that is key to every one of us as we tackle huge societal and political challenges.
Hi, Advancement. My name is Megan Francis. I'm a professor of political science. I'm also a professor in the Department of Law, Societies, and Justice. My research broadly focuses on the intersection of American politics, constitutional law, and social movements. I'm currently building a center on philanthropy and democracy. The center came out of two concerns in my research. One, a concern about declining and deteriorating United States democracy. The other was about the dramatic increase in money in elections and in the political process right now in the United States. I've been working with students over the last few years on the politics of philanthropy and social movements. And one of the things that I found really interesting in working with these students is that a lot of people don't understand the amount of control and power that philanthropy can play in both helping democracy as well as harming democracy. And my hope is that this center will be the kind of the preeminent institution in the United States that would examine the role of philanthropy, not just how to make philanthropy better, but also examine it from a critical lens.
Maybe. There we go. For all of these folks, we're asking them, okay, describe something about your work, and you have 90 seconds to do it, right? And so when I was talking to Megan, she said, I don't know, do you think this will resonate with this audience? And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is a room full of people who want to do good. So if you're saying you are gonna tell us how to do that even better, like, yes, please. Also, for those of you with an eagle eye, I must acknowledge, yes, Megan is both a Rice and a Princeton alum. She did offer to take down the flags, but she's a Husky now, and it felt like a nice reminder that we're all in this together. They can exist also. But this work is also an example of the type of work of what we mean when we say civic health. Civic health is a campaign priority. Again, like, okay, yes, civic health, I know what that means. But we're talking about this work that supports a connected and effective society that's capable of tackling big challenges together. So it's knowing when and where philanthropy helps and hurts. It's also the work of CELI, the Community Engagement and Leadership Education Center, who, ASA people. I saw that last year, CELI partnered 3,500 UW students with over 320 community partner organizations. So not only giving those 300 plus partner organizations the benefit of some UW student labor, right, but also teaching those UW students the skills and the habits and the real world communication skills that they're gonna need to be part of a healthy society when they graduate. Civic health is also the work of Urban at UW, who works on the future of cities. And one of the things we're super excited to see from them is that they have a monthly convening of scholars across disciplines solely focused on tackling the issues of homelessness and housing access in Seattle and beyond. And civic health is the work of the Center for an Informed Public, who earlier this year convened over 500 high schoolers, teachers, and librarians for their annual Misinformation Day, where they come together and learn how to determine if what they see on the internet is real or not. So this is what we mean by civic health. Those are some examples. There's much more. But we hope to bring that to life for you a little bit today. And of course, all of this great work, whether it's Megan's or anyone else's, it doesn't matter if people don't have access to it, right? If you don't have access to the information, to the healthcare, to the education. So here's an example of someone doing something about that.
Hi, Advancement. My name is Kagi Young. I am a faculty in computer science at the UW-Tacoma campus. My research area is bioinformatics. So my lab developed optimized computational methods and software tools to analyze big biomedical data. And our target audience are mostly biologists as well as clinicians. One of the application is that we are collaborating with the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. We are developing rapid, fast, and inexpensive cancer diagnostics, especially for an environment in a low resource setting, like in low and middle income countries, or in rural areas where there is no extensive hospital and lab infrastructure. We love to collaborate and to also work on, because the tools and the methods we develop are general purpose, not specifically for certain types of cancer, and it can be applied to data from other diseases. We can apply our data to many different labs and data types as well.
So for those of you like me who feel like computational platforms are far over their heads, we should talk about Kai for a minute. Her story is, by all senses, a UW story. She studied computer science and computational biology here at the UW, then spent 10 years at UW Medicine's Department of Microbiology, and now she's at Tacoma's School of STEM. We're not in order. She took a sabbatical before she started her current partnership with the Fred Hutch and spent that time launching a computing platform through CoMotion. And now she's taking that UW brilliance and putting it in the hands of the people who need it. Her current partnership with Fred Hutch, which is UW's cancer care arm, will allow for real-time leukemia diagnostics in places where people don't have access to cancer centers. Her team is also working with the military to create rapid GI tract infection diagnostics for soldiers deployed to remote areas so they can be diagnosed in the field. And her computing company that she built through CoMotion, BioDepot, is open source, so scientists everywhere can use her platform. As Kai mentioned, she loves to collaborate. Historically, her research has been fully funded by the federal government, federal grants. So she would absolutely love to work with anybody and everybody in advancement. So in addition to the work across the 3 campuses in UW Medicine, we also have Continuum College, which even further extends UW's educational research and reach.
Hello, Advancement colleagues. I'm Rovi Brannon. I'm the Vice Provost for Continuum College here at the University of Washington. If you don't know Continuum College, we were founded in 1912 as the University of Washington Extension. This year, we served over 65,000 learners out of our office. They range in age from 8 to 98. We have youth programs for enrichment. We have dual credit programs for people in high school. We run summer session for our traditional students here on campus. We have certificate programs for those in the workforce, giving needed workforce skills. We have an Osher Lifelong Institute for those who are more seasoned learners over the age of 50. So we have this very wide range of things we do here. Let me make it real through a story of a person that came to us who was experiencing homelessness. She had a college degree, but not specifically in the areas she needed to move into. Took our wetland sciences certificate, ended up becoming a wetland scientist for Pierce County, King County, and is now actually an instructor in the program teaching others. So a full circle of goodness through our scholarship programs that we provide to folks. And we just announced last week, thanks to a generous donor coming in through our advancement team, that we're going to be working with Vine Maple Place to place at least 5 families into programs here, with Vine Maple Place providing wraparound services and Continuum College providing certificate programs to help people transitioning out of homelessness find their next step in their career. So it's a great journey that we're on. I'm so appreciative of all of you in this room, because it takes us all to be able to make these things happen for our community. So let's stand together, go Dogs, and I look forward to the next exciting adventure for us all. Thank you.
If you are unfamiliar with Continuum College, I cannot say how much I would recommend checking out their website, looking at our Continuum colleagues here, because it's just factoid after factoid of amazingness. I don't know if you caught it, Rovi said they served 65,000 people last year. 65,000 is the number of students across all 3 campuses that we serve every year, approximately, right? So we're effectively doubling the UW's impact through Continuum's programs. The other thing I saw that just blew my mind was that last year, our Continuum colleagues, I'm like, oh, stressful, hopefully I don't get this fact wrong, it's written down, that last year through the UW and the high school programs, Continuum delivered 38,000 credits to UW in the high school students. So what that means is those are now 38,000 credits that these high schoolers don't have to pay for once they graduate to attend college, because UW in the high school is free. So it's just mind-blowing impact all over the place. And I know that's just one of the many ways that a UW education is being expanded beyond traditional undergraduates and also meeting the needs of the workforce. And speaking of workforce,
hi, advancement community. My name is Anin Day, and I'm the Dean of the Information School here at the University of Washington. I'm really excited to share news about a really brand new institute started here just a few weeks ago at the university, the Institute for Neurodiversity and Employment. It's housed in the Information School, but it actually involves partners from all over campus, from UW-HR to Advancement, to the Foster School, to the Allen School, and beyond. This institute is really focused on supporting a growing population that identifies as neurodiverse in getting through the major milestones in life, whether that's graduating high school and getting into college, whether that's getting into college and graduating college, and whether that's getting into graduating college and then going into that first job. Training individuals who are engaging with this growing neurodiverse population that we have in this country and around the world in succeeding at these different milestones. To many people who are neurodiverse, they have a special superpower, and it's up to us. If there's this great opportunity for us to be able to leverage those superpowers, leverage those extra skills, and support them in supporting our workforce, which is desperately needed here, both in the state of Washington, but around the country.
Congrats to the fundraisers on that one too. There are 2 really cool projects already happening in the Institute for Neurodiversity and Employment. They're working with students and faculty in the Information School's Masters in Libraries and Information Sciences program to create an autism-ready library and create recruitment, onboarding, retainment, and career advancement opportunities for neurodiverse librarians. Gets me good. The plan is to scale these projects nationally once they have been tested at the UW.
And we've shared with you, there we go, a lot of examples of work that matters regionally, worldwide. But we want to end with our last video here with some work that happens very close to home with our undergraduate students.
Hello, Advancement. My name is Glenna Chang. I'm an Associate Vice President for Student Life on the UW Seattle campus. I have a big place in my heart for Advancement because I used to be one of you as a fundraiser in ASA, and I still think of Advancement as my family. But I wanted to take a minute to tell you a little bit about what I do now. In Student Life, we have a whole range of services and programs that help a student make the most of the college or graduate or professional school experience, from clubs to internships to Greek life. But what I do in particular is work behind the scenes to support students through the hardest stuff that life might throw at them: accidents, illnesses, crises. We work with families, friends, faculty, and students themselves to weather catastrophic impacts. So if you're ever in a situation when you think, ooh, life is hitting this student really hard, and I wonder if there's anyone who's there to help, there is. It's us. And now you know where to find us. And from all of us in Student Life to all of you in Advancement, thank you for creating the circumstances that allow this university to thrive. I'm so grateful that we're family.
First of all, I did not tell her to say that. That came out of her organically. But we embark on campaigns because they elevate and amplify and bolster this work, the work of the Glennas and the Megans and the Kayis and all the other people that are coming to mind for you that we didn't have time to show today, where you're like, oh, but this other amazing thing. That is why we do campaigns. You know, we often talk about the depth and breadth of this university. Sometimes that can feel abstract. It's like, yes, it's big, right? So what we hope to do today is to give you a flavor of what that means, right? It's all the way from bee backpacks, rapid cancer diagnostics, supporting students through mental health crises, right? And everything in between. And what we want to do in our campaign is bottle that up, figure out how to share it with the public, and highlight opportunities where philanthropy can help move the needle so we can have an even greater impact on the state and the world around us. Lisa.
All right, well, hopefully those videos gave you a little glimpse of the magic that Emelina was talking about and brought really to life the why of why we do campaigns. So now in just our last little minutes, I want to get granular again a little bit and talk about the how of campaigns. These are our collective campaign priorities. And I think what the videos really demonstrate, at least for me, is just how interconnected they all are. So are bee backpacks climate? Are they technology? Yes, that's the answer. And that's true with every one of these. The magic in the UW is in the intersection of all of these things. That is what is uniquely University of Washington. The intersection of these collective priorities really are the UW's greatest strengths, and that's what we're seeking to amplify. For those of you who are very literal, please remember the names on this slide are placeholders. We change them all the time. So think about the ideas more than the words, and someday we'll settle on the words. Let's look ahead at what the plan is for this year. You've seen versions of this slide before. We shared it at the Spring Shop Talk, but I just want to center us again in our work for FY26, given that we're, whatever we are, not quite halfway through it. Thinking about centering why the UW's work matters. We called this how we're talking about it. How are we talking about what we do? This is about leading in our communications, both at the unit and at the university level, with the why. Not the what we do or the how we do it, but the why we do it. It's knitting together Murner Hornets and string quartets into a really compelling overarching narrative that we tell in plain terms that people can connect with, or to quote my most quotable colleague, Jack Martin, talking to people about things they care about in words they understand. That is what we are trying to do here. Then it's about connecting philanthropy to that narrative to enable the how. Philanthropy is what gives us the fuel to let us do that. So this is about continuing to refine the way we're talking about our priorities and connecting those to the strategic plan and calling out where the places are that philanthropy can really help us enable all of this work that you saw and more. It's about identifying investors. Who's going to help us do this? If philanthropy is a critical piece to help drive this work, who will be those donors? So this year, it's about campaign ratings and qualification and impact goals. And it's about early champions. Who is going to help us do this? As big as we are in this room and the people who will watch this online later, all three of you, this is about who's going to help us do it, because we know we need volunteers to do that. So we are coalescing toward confirming this is the UW Foundation Board as the convening body for campaign leadership. It's about a bespoke volunteer structure at the units, which means you do what works for you. Each unit is creating their own way of having campaign volunteers, whether that's an existing committee or a new one. Thinking about a small university-wide campaign cabinet, because the foundation board is 80 plus people, which is awesome and also large for some of the work that we need to do. We're aiming to recruit campaign chairs by the end of this fiscal year, and it's about having that work be supported by existing systems, so connecting with principal giving, working through the systems that support all of our work as we go forward. So this is the work of FY26. It's not new. We've talked about it, but just thinking about now that you've seen the why, how do we enable all of this to make it build forward? And so I want to end with our ask of you. Some of you have been or will be soon directly engaged in some of the work that we mentioned, whether that's campaign goals or brand development or storytelling. And more of you will be as we continue to build toward the campaign. And every single role in university advancement has a role to play in supporting the Vikrams and the Kayis and the Glennas of this university. So regardless of your job, we hope you'll take advantage of opportunities to connect with the why, attend events, volunteer at events, read UW Current, read UW Today. The stories are in there, and it's up to us to lean in and connect with them. Share information with us and with each other. You could shoot a short video. Please take our very non-professional videos captured on our iPhones as permission to be very imperfect in the way that you captured things and tell stories. But we all see little glimpses of this. Imagine if we all dropped this into teams, if we shared a cool article, if we shared a video, if we helped each other connect to the why of the university. Look for opportunities to knit your work into the larger narrative, to connect the dots and tell stories across the university. Ask yourself all the time how you can help advance the work, the campaign work this year, this work. Use this as a guidepost. Read campaign updates and give us feedback. Ask questions. We want this to be all of our campaign, and the more we connect these pieces, all of us to the why and all of us to each other, the more powerful that we'll be. Wrapping up, I recently read a fantasy book, which is not my usual genre, but I read it. So now I've been thinking about amplifying magic, because it had dragons and magic and things in it. Now you're like, what book was it? But this is what each of us does through the campaign. This is about amplifying the magic that is the university. And the university's work in these videos and in others, to me, truly feels like magic. As we filmed them, we would run back to the office and be like, dude, you won't even believe it. I just learned, I saw a murder hornet, I held it in my hand. This is the magic, and we get to amplify it. So keep looking for it, grow it, ask yourself how you and others can help elevate all of this. Thank you.
Wow, can we please have another round of applause for these wonderful women? Okay, we're a little bit over time, so I'm going to go quickly here to get us to the wonderful awards that we have coming up here. I want to remind us who we are as an advancement team, and it comes back to the magic of the why. And we are an integrated organization that is matrixed around the entire university. We are the only organization in the University of Washington that has that capacity to be across units, across functions, and tell this audacious story of the why, and help the university work forward at this time, in a time when our university needs optimism and hope and strength, and coming through at this particular moment in time we find ourselves in. So I want to remind each of you that these are amazing stories, and one might be thinking, well, okay, that's what the marketing group does, or that's what our development officers do, but actually, each one of us has a significant role in ensuring that the why we do, why our university does what it does, why our university has the power that it has, is told authentically, in words people understand, as Jack would say, but you all have the power to do that within your communities, from wherever you sit, in your place, what you do on behalf of the organization. So I really want to encourage you to lean into this deep, deep mission we have. The campaign's going to be amazing. Our volunteers are leaning in. The why stories that every dean that is represented here, and chancellor and vice president and vice provost in this room that brought before the campaign organizing task force, had that task force leaning in so deeply with the campaign. It was so fun to watch them. And Manka, you're here somewhere. When Rovi came and told that story, and beyond this story, told many stories to the task force in an amazing way, I thought people were going to run back and, get out their checkbooks and start throwing them at him. It was incredible how all of our leaders represented here. So I really just want to encourage you to think deeply about this moment in time for your university, and through your role and what we do, let's remember the why, and let's make sure we share it and matrix it and do what we do as a team across the university and in our communities. My remarks here say that I'm supposed to end with sort of reminding us of our key advancement goals this year, so I'm going to do that quickly. Remember that we have goals in advancement every year that we work toward, and they're operational goals attached to our campaign readiness. So one, of course, is enhancing reputation. We just talked about that, through amazing storytelling, and doing so in such a way that we're supporting the philanthropic agenda, of course, but also the university's strategic purpose for enrollment, for our legislative work, for our families, for community, how we share the amazing stories of our university. We need to keep growing fundraising at all levels. We're doing an awesome job. It's amazing. Just today, we're announcing that Lisa and Charles Simoni have created a vice provost position. Well, Tricia Serio created it, but to lead AI into the future here at the University of Washington, if you haven't seen that. It's one of many gifts. I have a list here that I was going to go through, but I want to get to the awards. But incredible things. I can see Kevin Thompson back there, an unrestricted gift to the College of Arts and Sciences. Watched how hard Kevin worked with our donor there. Beautiful relationship there that continues. Just some really, truly beautiful work by so many in this room. So deeply grateful. We need to keep doing that. Our university needs us right now, particularly, but also this is our moment. As our president would say, if we stay focused on strategy, we think about how we layer a strategic plan with the why we're seeing here, with the deep work we do together, we're going to do some amazing things over the next few years. So continue, and thank you for all of the amazing work you're all doing. We also need to strengthen our financial and operational stability. This is a time of, as you know, budget constraint in the university. And I'm going to be asking all of you to think about where are there ways you can be part of helping the university be more efficient and effective. We're not going to be able to grow as a team in ways to get ready in usual campaign preparedness way, right? We've grown in advancement over the years. We've been preparing for this. But that growth mindset, we have to think about more of a growth mindset in terms of how we do our work to our very best. Where do we have processes that are duplicative? Do we have redundancies in the organization? How can we be more collaborative together and get things done? The university is asking everyone to do this. Just had a President's Council meeting about it this morning. We have to think about our own university efficiencies and ensure we're addressing those, even as we're being strategic and looking toward the future. So I ask all of you to think about that. Raise your hand, tell someone, I think we could do this better. Perhaps there are operations we could do differently. All of that is going to be on the table, too, as we look at this. And we're going to have to make hard budget choices about positions we rehire, those that we don't. And I ask for your grace and perseverance in that. But all of you who have leadership authority over budget requests and VFFs and other things, think very, very carefully about what you're going to need as we walk through this campaign period, because we're going to have to be very judicious with how we're managing through as we go through this time again, where state and federal budgets are pretty challenging. And finally, I'm so grateful for all of you. And this is the best gathering of the year, when we get to join together and express gratitude for our colleagues for a job well done. I want to thank each of you for where we are at this moment. This is our fall shop talk, but it's almost the holidays, so it's kind of interesting. But we have a lot of goodness to celebrate from the fall, but also I want you to get a really good rest as we go through the holidays. I know some of you won't. You're busy. Where's Tobin? Where's Lynn? I know some of you won't be, but and we celebrate you, that's for sure. But really, it's been it's just been a remarkable journey as we've been getting through campaign readiness and as we look forward to where we are. One of our volunteers said, I want to give Lisa Thomas some props here, said that we are so well prepared as we go through this period of campaign readiness when they saw the deans come into the campaign organizing task force compared to the last time, because the deans were confident. They were really clear about their why. I know that came through Lisa and Emelina and Kelsey and their coaching, but also through the CAOs who were working with them. So very, very grateful for the professionalism that you're putting forward as we work toward this next phase. And with that, I think I'm handing it to Annie and Anne, the dynamic duo, and we're going to have our awards at the end of Shop Talk. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I am, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Annie Aldridge. I'm Senior Director of Events and Experiences in UMac. Go UMac. I am very used to being the person on the side sending people to the stage and helping them with their script and those kinds of things. So this is different. Give me a microphone to do karaoke and that's fine. This is a little different, but I'm thrilled to be here to announce the 2025 Manager Excellence Awards and celebrate the accomplishments of 3 amazing managers in university advancement. This award was created to recognize managers who demonstrate excellence in leadership, those who empower, educate, and support their teams with care and intention. Earlier this fall, the selection committee, made up of myself and several past Star and Manager Excellence Award recipients, reviewed nominations that detailed the positive impact managers have on their teams and across advancement. Let me pause to first thank my fellow committee members for being part of this important work and for helping us recognize our amazing colleagues. Thank you. So during our review, the committee found the most impactful nominations highlighted managers who lead through change and show a clear commitment to inclusion and values-driven leadership. These honorees truly embody our shared values. It starts with me, our best work is done together, and we create impact. Before we begin, 2 things. First of all, you can find the full list of nominees and honorees on the advancement intranet after our gathering. So check out the campaign information, check out all the names of the nominees and the honorees after our gathering. And then second, for you 3 folks who will be coming to the stage when your name is called, do please come to the stage when your name is announced. You will receive your award with Mary. Have a quick photo by Pamela. Shout out Pamela taking photos. And then you can exit the stage for the next honoree. So let's get started. The first Manager Excellence Award recipient is described by their team as an inspiring and empowering leader who models advancement's values in action. In just 2 years, this individual has transformed their team and the way they work by re-envisioning processes to be more inclusive, strengthening collaboration, and cultivating an environment where creativity and professional growth thrive. They lead with integrity, transparency, and care, ensuring that each person feels supported both professionally and personally. By setting an example that encourages growth through learning and a focus on well-being and connection, this honoree understands that excellence begins with people. Under their guidance, the team has achieved measurable progress, strengthened cross-unit partnerships, and developed a stronger sense of belonging in their work. This 2025 Manager Award recipient is Sarah Edding. Wonderful. The next honoree exemplifies what it means to lead with empathy, integrity, and trust. They advocate fiercely for their team, ensuring workloads are manageable and boundaries are respected. Yeah. They demonstrate care and compassion not just in words, but in consistent, intentional actions that build trust, autonomy, and confidence across the team. When it comes to creating an atmosphere of collaboration, support, and camaraderie, this manager is second to none. They take input and feedback with grace, enact changes in meaningful ways, and empower their team to pursue growth opportunities that align with their passions. This manager creates a culture of belonging and mutual care that reflects their commitment to building authentic relationships, valuing differences, and providing meaningful support and guidance. This Manager Excellent Award recipient is Irene Greerbiel. All right, our final honoree for this portion is described as someone who leads with vision, compassion, and authenticity. They bring together people with differing focuses and priorities and turn those differences into strengths. This manager creates a shared sense of purpose by helping team members appreciate how each function supports the broader mission of UW Medicine and the University of Washington, and encouraging everyone to see wins for one area as wins for the whole. Under their guidance, collaboration isn't just how work gets done, but how people grow. Their leadership embodies advancements, values in action, rooted in integrity, connection, and care. Through their example, they remind us that excellence isn't about individual achievement, but about creating the conditions where everyone can thrive. The final 2025 Manager Excellence Award goes to Kathy Riley. Congratulations to all of our 2025 Manager Excellence Award honorees, Sarah Edding, Irene Greerbiel, Kathy Riley. Give them one more round of applause. Now I'd like to introduce and bring Anne up to the stage, the other Anne up here, to present the final award of the day.
Hi, everyone, and congratulations to an amazing group of managers. Now, it is my great privilege to present the Marilyn Bott Dunn Award for Excellence, otherwise known as the MBD Award. This award was established in honor of Marilyn Bott Dunn, who served as Vice President for Development in the 1990s. This is Advancement's highest honor, and it's awarded annually to someone who demonstrates significant impact by centering collaboration, driving innovation, and creating lasting change through a significant body of work over the years. So, I think you guys are probably as excited as I am to figure out who this is, so I'm gonna get started. For more than not one, but 2 decades, this individual has built systems, tools, relationships that unite the University of Washington and amplify its voice. This nominee's collaboration across the university and around the world has benefited everyone connected to the University of Washington, from students to faculty to staff to patients and alumni. This nominee is often described by colleagues as the embodiment of, and I'm going to use quotes here, the power of the purple. Whether guiding college leaders through brand challenges or launching Canva for All, this nominee's work has empowered every corner of the university to tell our shared story with pride and with purpose. The impact of their work is deep and far-reaching, the strength of which supports the recruitment of our students and our employees, the willingness of our legislators and donors to fund our work, and the prestige a University of Washington degree conveys, not to mention the pride our alumni have in their alma mater. For decades, they have accomplished all of this through boundless creativity, care, and collaboration, and you almost could say that this person really wrote the canon on the UW brand. If you haven't guessed it already, please join me in enthusiastic applause for this year's MBD honoree, Alanya Cannon.
The one day I didn't wear purple. As soon as they put the hex code on screen, looked at Nicole and I was like, wait a minute, the only person that they use that for is me. I just want to say, first of all, I'm just honored to be in the group of people that have received this award over the years. I've watched them for 25 years and never thought I'd be standing up here, so I thank you so much. And I have to say thank you to my UMAC team. I couldn't do anything we do without the amazing work of all of the people in that group that promote and market our university every day. And I'm so lucky to work with such an amazing group of folks. And I just want to say thank you to you all. And I'm trying not to cry because I didn't know my family would be here. But I tell people all the time, there's no other place I'd rather work. Everyone asks me, oh, you've been here for 25 years, don't you want to do something else? And the answer every time is no. This is exactly what I love. I love this place, I love the people here, and I'm so proud to work for the UW. So thank you.
Thank you again, Alanya. for the incredible impact you've had at the University of Washington, and thank you to everyone in this room who actively contributes every day to our collective success. We couldn't do it without each of you. So now, I'm turning the podium back to Mary Gresh.
Just the best. Yes. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Congratulations to all of our award winners. Thank you, Sam and Lindsay and Ben and others who have made this a wonderful, wonderful shop talk again. There's reminders up there, and I'm not sure what they are. Follow whatever they say. That's important. If you can, please sign up for Coffee and Conversations that I'm having this year. I do this every other year, periodic times to gather and meet and hear your concerns, issues, talk about the organization and the university. Please do that. And in the meantime, have fun congratulating our award winners, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.